Good morning, girls. In the last session of Java, we learned uh, how to include other file in our current Jsp file, right? Using the include directive. Now, the third directive type is Taglib Directive. Taglib Directive is used to define a tag library that the current Jsp page uses. A Jsp page might include several tag library. We'll look into it in more detail in custom tag section. Right now only let us see the syntax of taglib directive. It is same as you define your own tag in XML, right? But for JSP we can use taglib. Here you can see the syntax. Again we need this symbol for this directive. Then we will write taglib. Then here you can see the prefix and then URI. The prefix is used to distinguish the custom tag from the other library custom tag. Okay, if you have more than one custom library in your JSP, then you can use this prefix to differentiate your one custom tag from other library custom tag. Prefix is prepended to the custom tag name. Every custom tag must have a prefix. Here you can see the syntax. Prefix is prepended to the custom tag name. Each library used in a page needs its own taglib directive with unique prefix. Okay, and URI is a unique identifier in the tag library descriptor. It is a unique name for the tag library, the TLD describe. Okay, this we can mention in our TLD file. TLD file you can include in your webinf folder. Here in this example we are using the tag username. To use this tag we must specify some information to the web container using taglib directive like this. See here the prefix is mine and URI is my tags, right? So you can use this tag in your HTML code portion like this, welcome. Then inside the tag you can write mine is a prefix, and username, whatever you have defined in your custom tag library file, that you can mention over here. Here we are assuming that in your custom tag username is already defined. So in this way you can use a tag library, taglib directive in your JSP file for custom tags, right? Next is expression tag. Expression tag is used to print Java expression that is put between this tag. An expression tag can hold any Java language expression that can be used as an argument to the out.print method, right? So let us see the example of expression. Here you can see the syntax. These are the symbols used for Java expression tag. Okay, this is the end of expression. You can write like this. The symbols are scriptlet tags with equals to sign, and inside this tag we can enclose our equation or expression, right? Here my expression is 2 into 5. It turns it into this equal servlet coding format or Java format like this, out.print into bracket 2 into 5 and this. If you write this line in JSP, it will be converted to Java code by a web container in this format, right? Here you have to keep one thing in your mind: never end an expression with semicolon inside expression tag, right? See here what I have shown, 2 into 5, this is my expression, but never put semicolon after your expression if you are using this expression in your JSP file like this. This is wrong way. This is a wrong way. We should not put semicolon at the end of expression. Okay, so let us try to understand expression tag through the example. For that we will open NetBeans window. I will create one new project with name EX7, Jsp EX7. Okay, so you will one more time come to know that how to create a new project in JSP. Here from the category window we will choose Java Web and Web Application. Okay, click on next button. Now provide an appropriate name for your project folder like Jsp EX7. I want to give a name to my project, and the location is F drive and J2EE folder, right? Click on next. This will ask for a server. Keep as it is, whatever shown over here, and click on finish. See, here our folder is created now. Fine, you can minimize some all other folders which are not required. Even you can close these folders by right clicking on the folder name and click on close. So here you can see I have closed all the folders, right click and then close, right click and then close. Close all unnecessary examples. Fine. Now here you can see Jsp underscore EX underscore 7 is created. Even you can check your subfolders by choosing F drive, and inside it or path we have selected J2EE is our path. Here the name of project is Jsp underscore EX underscore 7. Double click on it. You will get the default folders over here. Right now these are empty because we don't have any file or folders yet we have created, right? These all are empty. Only the default file you can find over here. See, now close this folder. Now we want to create one Jsp file like this expression for using an expression tag. So we will use our index.jsp. Remove your unnecessary code from this file. We don't want a meta tag, so remove it. Title tag, if you don't want, you can remove it. Okay, now body tag is clear. Here we will do our Jsp coding. It is very simple. We want to initialize one variable. Okay, now you know that how to define a variable. Scriptlet tag we can use integer a equals to 0 semicolon. Scriptlet tag one more variable I want to define here, integer b equals to 0, not 0 but let us assign some value to this variable 6 and 5 for example, right? And one more variable of type integer name of this variable is total. My scripted tag is over. Fine. This way you can define your variables. Now I want to just do the addition. Our example is little bit different than this one, because this example which is shown on the in the document, this example is already done by us, right? So here I have done some changes. Now for expression, you can take this symbol. Fine. Here we will define our expression. See, like this. Here I want to find the total of that two variables. I want to print the total. Total of A and B. Right now we don't want this variable. I will do A plus B, right? As I explain you that never put semicolon at the end of any expression. Now run this file. Here you can see the total of A and B is 11, right? Like this way you can define your expression. Now one more example I am showing you. For example, I want to print the current time. So that I will write like this. Take the expression tag from the list. Here you can write java dot util dot your calendar, okay, dot get instance dot get time, and then as I told you, don't put semicolon at the end. Fine. Here we want to print the current time. Let me execute our program one more time. Here it is. Current time is this. Okay, we got this line through the expression we have specified, or we have enclosed this line in between expression tag, right? You can use different ways for printing this date and time. Fine. Now let me show you the usage of page import, right? With the help of page import, you can import a package. As I told you, page directive will cover the same example in the same Jsp page directive. Okay, so how to add a page directive in your Jsp file that I am going to show you. And as I told you that it is a better way if you include your page directive at the top of your Jsp coding. This is our page directive. Now I want to import java.util. For example, here I want to import the java.util package, right? So here I can write like this: languages Java. So with the page directive, we have imported java.util package in our JSP page. Here I have set the language type Java. It is by default we are using Java, so it is no need to specify the language type. Okay, now same output we will print with the help of this imported package, right? So here expression tag is over. Exactly below it I will take scriptlet, end of scriptlet. In between this I will write out.println, okay, and inside the bracket I will use calendar dot get instance. Calendar dot get instance dot get time. Okay, so same output we will get with the help of this also. Here you can observe, if you have observed the thing, java.util, this package is already imported through the page directive, so no need to write it again inside the scriptlet tag, right? Run your file. Here you can see the date and time are printed twice, right? Let us take on the next line, so we will come to know in a better way. For that I will write out.println, as you know that this is our JSP code, so here you can use a br tag for skipping a line, br tag for leaving a line, or even you can take this line outside scriptlet tag. Here no need to enclose this br in double quotation mark, as this is a code of HTML, right? See, one br we have skipped one line with the help of HTML tag, and another line with the help of this code, right? Let me remove this and let us execute. See, here you can compare both the outputs. Here one line is skipped between these two lines, and here you can see, right? One more BR you can place between these two expressions, so this will also leave a one line. Compare the output with the previous one. Here everything is printed on the same line. Then here we gave one BR, then here we gave one BR, right? In this way you can print everything on a separate line. Okay, so that's it. This is paste directive, and paste directive with attribute import and attribute language. And we also learned how to use expression in our JSP, right? How you can define expression in our JSP page. You have to keep the thing in your mind is never put semicolon at the end of the equation. This is a wrong way. Okay, you will get an error. Here you can see expected bracket, illegal start of expression. This is our example number 7. Now let us discuss the implicit objects available in JSP that are not implicitly available in our servlets, right? So here no need to define these objects. If you are doing your code with the help of JSP, then no need to define these objects explicitly. They are already available implicitly, right? Whereas in servlet, every time if you want to use this object in your coding, then every time you have to define that objects. Okay, implicit object means the object which is already created by JSP itself. Implicit objects are automatically created in JSP pages and can be used without declaring their objects. In servlets, whereas in servlet, if we want to use some of the object like request and response, we need to explicitly declare it within the servlet program. Like this other some object which are frequently used with the program are implicitly within the JSP, which are known as implicit object. Like one more example is out, right? Print writer class. Here you have to create a out object or printer writer class if you are doing your code with the help of servlet. But here in JSP we will get that object automatically. Okay, the reason behind implicit object is JSP page is also converted into servlet at last. So some of objects should be provided by JSP also for programming similar to servlet. Implicit objects are used within scriptlet and expression elements. One more example, we can retrieve HTML form parameter data by using request variable, which represent the HTTP servlet request object. As you can see here, we have already done this program, right? The request object is implicit in case of JSP, but in case of servlet you have to define it yourself. Here you can see the piece of code. One object of type string is defined with name user, and we have assigned a value to this variable. Which value we want to assign? Whatever entered by a client in the text box name user, that we want to assign in this variable. Then we want to print that value in our JSP page. That we can do with the help of out object. Again, here in case of JSP, out object is implicit and it is associated with JSP writer object. Here you can see the list of JSP implicit objects. Request, response, out, session, config, exception and application. This all are implicit objects available in JSP. What is request? The HTTP servlet request object associated with the request. Response is associated with HTTP servlet request class, and this object can send back a response to the browser. Next object is out object. This is associated with JSP writer class, and it can produce output stream of the response. Session, one more implicit object available in JSP, the HTTP session object. This is associated with the session for the given user of request. Application, the servlet context object for the web application. Then config, this is also an inbuilt object available in JSP. The servlet config object associated with the servlet for current JSP page, right? Then page context, the page context object that encapsulates the environment of a single request for this current JSP page. Then page object, the page variable is equivalent to this variable of Java programming language. Then exception, the exception object represents the throwable object that was thrown by some other JSP page. So the list is very long. These are mainly used objects, implicit objects of JSP. Next is Jsp Action Tag. There are many Jsp Action Tags or elements. Each Jsp Action Tag is used to perform some specific task. The action tags are used to control the flow between pages and to use a Java bean. Here we had not covered the Java bean topic, right? Later on we will cover that topic in some other sessions. But before we start JSP Action Tag, let us discuss about the implicit objects. The first one is request. This is the most important object which is used in JSP programming. The entire request coming from the client can be obtained through this object. As similar to servlet programming, request object in JSP is also belong to java.servlet.http servlet request class. You can see all parameters which are sent by the client through request object, right? The request object has request scope. That means the implicit request object is in scope until the response to the client is complete, right? We have already gone through the example of request object in previous session. The second object is response. This is another most important object which is used in JSP programming. If you want to generate any output for client, or we can say for a browser, then you can generate it using response object. As similar to the servlet programming, response object in JSP is belong to javax.servlet.http servlet response class. This object allow us to set the content type using the set content type method. To set the header using add header, and to set the cookie type, right, for the client, and send a redirect response to the client using send redirect method. The scope of response object is page only because it is used to generate output for a particular page. If you want to transfer control from one page to another, you can use send redirect method for the response. Next is session. Session, as the name suggests, the session implicit object is used for session tracking in JSP. This belongs to javax.servlet.http session class. Session object for the requesting client is created under session implicit object. We can use the session method like get attribute, set attribute, get value, put value, remove attribute, remove value, is new, get id, get creation time, which we have already seen our in the session of servlets, right? Next is application. This implicit object is used to set values and attributes at application level. Application object of JSP is similar to servlet context. In servlet programming, get servlet config, get context method can be used to retrieve application object, as we have already done in our servlet session. As it is similar to servlet context object of application, you can use all methods which are available under servlet context object. These methods are get attribute, set attribute, remove attribute, get servlet info, get init parameter, and get init parameter names. These all methods we have already used in our servlet session, if you remember, right? One more important implicit object of JSP is out. This object is used to write output into the output stream of client or browser. The scope of out is current page. An out object is created using javax.servlet.jsp writer class. There are several methods under out implicit object. They are print, println, clear, clear buffer, close, and flush. Again, these methods are already done by us. We have already used these methods in our servlet programming sessions, right? Config is one more implicit object. This implicit object is similar to servlet config object of servlet. Config object is created using javax.servlet.servletConfig class. This is mainly used to read some initial parameters which are passed to particular page. Methods available inside the config object are get init parameter names, get servlet context, and get servlet info. One more implicit object is page. As you know that JSP page is converted into servlet class at last, then servlet instance is created of that particular JSP servlet class, and page is the instance of JSP servlet class created by web container for the current request, for handling the current request, right? As page is the instance of current JSP servlet class, it contains method of object class along with all the methods created inside JSP page. So in this way you can use all these implicit objects without defining it, right? In the next session we will discuss Jsp Action Tags and we'll see some example of this action tags. Will include, forward, include, and set property and get property with this action tags. Till then, take care. Thank you.